Yeah, let's head into our finance mathematics or continue with it. Okay, so what we got here is 70% is invested, and let's just ease this down as we go. It's invested 14% per annum compounded quarterly at 3 years. Determine the amount of interest earned. Okay, well that's easy enough, right? Because we're going to use compound interest, so you know how to work out. Or is this the feeling we're getting? Wait, compound interest. Have we done compound interest? No, we have. Okay. So let's back it up a bit. So compound interest. With compound interest, interest is calculated on the original amount borrowed or invested as well as on interest accumulated. So what we're saying here is that let's say that you invest, say, 100 Rand. Now, if you're earning interest every month, it makes sense that, let's say, just for argument's sake, you got 10 Rand in the first month. That means in the second, after a month, you've got 110 Rand, right? That's what's sitting in the bank. Now, if you're earning interest, why would you only earn 10 Rand again? Surely you're going to earn interest on this 110 Rand. So you're actually going to earn a bit more. Maybe in the second month, you'd earn 11 Rand. And then, that would grow. So in that next month, you'd have that 110 plus your interest. So you'd have 121 Rand. Okay, and so this would go. Now, it wouldn't make sense that you only earn 10 Rand because you're earning interest on the amount as it grows. So that's the idea of compound interest. It's building on itself. So this formula that we're going to use so much, you're not going to need it in the formula sheet even though it's there. It says A equals P1 plus I to the n. Now A, that's what it grows to. It accumulates to. P, principal amount. How much did you kind of put in initially, or how much did you borrow initially? Because it's going to be the same formula. 1 plus I is our interest rate, and N is compounding periods. So maybe just things that we need to be aware of, and we'll see this in the examples, are kind of this interest rate. So if our interest rate, we're told is, let's just say for argument's sake, is 8% per annum, but it's compounded monthly. Okay, so if that's our example, then we don't write 8% in here. We write 8%, but we write it over 12 because it's compounded monthly. Now, maybe just a quick question. Let's just make sure everyone's on track here and go, 8%. How would you write 8% as a decimal fraction? Okay, well, 8%, just kind of the in-between step, that's 8 out of 100, right? That's what percent means. It's over 100. And that is a fraction decimal. You'd go, well, not in the tenths column, but in the hundredths column. But we're going to skip that in-between step and go 0,08, right? We're just going to go straight there. So, let's stick with that. So this one here will be 0,08. That's what the interest rate, that's what we're going to write in for our value of I. Now for our value of N, let's say that we invested something compounded monthly, and we said we did it for, let's say, let's go 5 years. So if we did this for 5 years, how many compounding periods are there? Well, there are 5 years, so imagine we've got 5 years, like that. Now in each of them we've got 12 months. So therefore, in terms of compounding periods, our N equals 5 times 12, 60. Okay, so these will become clear when we head into it. So, I'm sure you're dying. So let's get into an example here. So we've got 70,000 Rand. Back to our example, right? It's invested at 14% per annum compounded quarterly for 3 years. Determine the amount of interest earned. Okay, so we're going to use our formula. I'm going to just copy paste it here. Zoop, that one there. And I'm going to put it over here. And we should be able to see it, right? Okay, so there it is. So we're just going to go A. It's going to accumulate to. We've put in 70,000. I like that idea. Principal amount. We've put in, it works out 70,000. 1 plus Now our interest rate to the n. So let's go through each of these bits. If it's 14% per annum, what is 14% as a decimal? Well, it's 0.14. Okay, it's compounded quarterly. So what's going to go on the denominator of that fraction? Well, 4, because it's quarterly. Okay, and then, so that's the quarterly. And then finally, we've got 3 years that we're doing this for. So therefore, what's our value of n? How many compounding periods are there? Well, 3 years quarterly means that they're 12, because we've got 3 times 4, 3 quarters in, or 4 quarters in every year, but for 3 years. Okay, and then we're just going to punch that into our calculator. Now, nothing too special. I'm going to load up my calculator here. You ready? Have you got some sort of calculator ready to punch this into? Okay, well, let me find mine. Let's load it up here. So we've got 70, 1, 2, 3, and punch it in, because you know I'm going to ask you what you get, 0.14 over 12, and we're going to put that, no, not over 12, not over 12. See, what's about you, right? Need to check. And that's going to be to the power of 12. Ah, that looks a bit better. And what do you get? 105,000 and what do we get? 774, comma. How many decimal places are we definitely going to round off to? Well, I can answer that quite definitively because it's rands and cents. That's our answer, 105,000 rand, 774 rand and 81 cents. So that's always our final answer, will always be round off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's that, and we haven't finished answering the question. What does the question really ask, and how are we going to finish off this question? The question asked how much, determine the amount of interest earned. Now, I don't actually always find that clear. I think, oh, well, we kind of figure out our answer. But wait a second. Our interest earned means we must take however much money we got and subtract what we put in initially, because that will tell us how much interest we earned over those 3 years. So what we need to do is say, let's do it like this and talk about our interest earned. We didn't earn 100,000 rand in interest. What we earned was 105,774,81. And we need to subtract what we put in, and what we put in was 70,000 rand. Okay, and maybe that can move out the way, and I don't know, I'm in the way wherever I am, right? So, into the calculator goes. Now, I've purposely, as I get my calculator up again, haven't got rid of this, because I'm going to subtract 70,123 from there, just saving our time in the calculator. So we've got, I'm going to put rand now, didn't need it in the calculation, 35,774, well, 81, obviously, that will be that part. Okay, so there we go. That's our interest earned. So maybe just keep an eye on what is being asked for. Okay. Part 2, our example over here. We are not going to do here, but I want you to try it after we've done the third example. So when you've done the third example, I want you to try this part, and then we're going to do it in class together. So let's get rid of this calculator. Obviously, you don't need to jot it down here from the video. You've got a copy of it. But yeah, that seems like a decent way to do it. So yeah, enjoy that. I mean, are you excited? Well, I'm excited. Okay, so here we go. Let's go into our last example that we're going to do together in this video. As I said, the last example, try and we'll go through that together synchronously. So in this one, Philip opens a savings account. Now, there's always going to be a kind of a story going on, and hopes we've got a sense of what that story is. So Philip opens a savings account, deposits a certain amount of money. The money is left in the account and no further deposits are made. After 5 years, the accumulated amount in the account is 64,840 rand and 46 cents. If the interest rate is 9.7% per annum compound monthly, determine the amount originally invested. Okay, so in this case, do I still have my formula for the ready? There it is. Look at that. Big, bad formula, right? Bad formula, good formula. I don't know, is it like hey, formula, and it's like coming out, it's like, yeah, I'm the formula. You know that. You know that. Or not, not, okay. So there's the formula, and now let's plug in the bits we know. He deposits a certain amount of money. We don't know how much money has been put in, right? So why don't we just say that our P amount is P. We don't know what it is. And the money left in, so it's, the money left in is going to accumulate interest. So as we go along, we've got, 1 plus, and I'm just kind of filling in the equation like that so far. So let's see, the money is left in the account, nothing. After 5 years, we get up to, let's see if we can keep track of all of this like this, 64,000. So that's what it grows to, 64,840 and 46, whoopsie, and 46, all these 4s and 6s. Okay, the interest rate is 9.7, hidden away somewhere over there. So our interest rate is 9.7%. So 0, wait a second, what's 9.7% is a decimal? 0.97. Now be careful because it's so easy to go 0.97, but that's almost 1. That's actually 97%. Quite a big difference. Okay, it's compounded monthly. So we're going to be 12 because it's monthly. And it's for 5 years. So 5 years. I'm sure we could do done better with our colors. 5 years, monthly. How many compounding periods? In other words, what's gonna? Oh, that doesn't mean to do that. What's gonna go up there? What's our n gonna be? Well, this is gonna be 60, right? We did an example like that at the top. Okay, so this seems great because there's one equation. There's one thing we don't know, so we must just solve it. So, just very briefly, because we're going to kind of go through a little bit of it now. How's your feeling on solving this equation? Okay, so my purpose is just want to see kind of what's your feeling, because then we'll go through it together now. So somewhere over here, I've got my calculator. This beautiful calculator sounds. And I need to solve this equation. Now what I need to do is, we've got P times this is equal to that. So all we need to do is take this amount and divide it by this amount. So for a similar type of example, if we said 8 equals 4x, we'd just divide both sides by 4, right? And we'd get x. Well, now that number is just a whole lot bigger and more complicated. So we've got 64, 840, 46, and we need to divide it by, and I find it sometimes easier to use the divide sign rather than as a fraction. And we need to divide it by 1 plus, and put that fraction there. Oh, no. Calculator woes. To the power of, brackets. I feel like the first bit of finance mathematics is definitely just really getting used to your calculator. So we can kind of just check that we're right. That number there is that number there. We need to divide it because we were multiplying by that thing over there to the power of 60. Okay, so punch that into your calculator if you have not done so already, and write down what you get. And I get 40,000 Rand rounded off. That worked out quite nicely. So P equals 40,000 Rand. Okay, so that seemed to work out. Okay, so for these, as I said, we're kind of gonna get into it with our questions. You've got that other one to try. So we're kind of just playing around, not playing around. We're getting used to it, as I said. I'm pausing because I'm just thinking. As I said, it's about the calculator. It's about playing with those formulae. Here we're bringing in some algebra, although it feels like, wait, are we doing algebra or not? So yeah, this example we'll do tomorrow, and then your prep is to do those few in the textbook. So go for it enjoy those, and I'll see you in the next one.